Hey guys, welcome to the Silver Report. Here we are, it's Friday, March 31st, 2017. We have gold currently trading at $1,247.70. Silver is trading at $18.30. That's a positive gain of 0.61% on silver. And let's get right into some of the economic factors that will be playing a part into the price of precious metals. Because what we're seeing, there's a major crisis looming. And it's not really being talked about for a country that is literally on the verge of a full-blown financial crisis that could bring down the entire European financial system. Things are eerily quiet in Italy these days. It's almost as if the greater the danger and the more serious this crisis gets, the less anyone wants to talk about it. Of course, they have elections coming up. And what we've seen, 114 of the close to 500 banks in Italy have a Texas ratio of over 100%. The Texas ratio, or TR, is calculated by dividing the total value of banks' toxic loans, non-performing loans, loans that they're not able to recover, compared to its tangible assets or book value plus their reserves. So it's pretty much the bad stuff divided by the money that you actually have to pay for it. If a TR is over 100%, that means the banks don't have enough money to pay for their bad loans. So the banks, they tend to fail when the ratio surpasses 100%. In Italy right now, there's 114 of them. And out of the 114 above 100% TR, 24 have ratios over 200%. Now, many of them are local banks that are in question. They're small local or regional savings banks with tens or hundreds of millions of euros in assets. They're not systematically important institutions, and they can be resolved by simply those banks going under. But Italy's biggest banks, which are certainly systematically important to Italy and also the rest of the world, as well as the European Union and the euro as a currency, some of which have Texas ratios over 200%. Top of the list, predictably, is Monte dei Paschi di Siena with 169 billion euro in assets and a TR of 269%. Next up, there's also Veneto Banca with 33 billion euro in assets and a TR of 239%. This is the bank that, together with Banco Popolare di Vicenza, assets 39 billion euro, TR 210%, was supposed to have been saved last year by an intervention from the government sponsored. And so there was a privately funded, government-sponsored bank bailout fund. But now they urgently require more public funds. Their combined assets placed them 7th on the list of Italy's largest banks. So what we're seeing is that Italy is on the verge of a banking collapse right now. And it's amazing that they're not reporting on it. And I feel very sorry for our friends out there in Europe because they have one of the most suppressed medias in the world. Some countries worse than others, but really they go and they take what they call political dissidents or any kind of private media or information that is circulating about anything that is anti-EU or what's going on in Europe, and they silence it. They deem it thought crimes, and the political correctness is running rampant over there. And we can see this very clearly when you see like stations like the BBC comes out, and I know that's not in Italy, but they report 28 minutes before Building 7 fell that it had fallen, another building had fallen. Yeah, try to figure that one out. So these two banks' failures would send shockwaves through the wider Italian financial industry and the rest of the European Union as a whole. There's other major Italian banks with TRs above 100%, like Banco Popolare, and it's now has 120 billion in assets and a TR 217%. UB Banca, 117 billion euro in assets, TR 117%. Almost all of Italy's largest banking groups, with the exception of Unicredit, Intesa Sanpaolo, and Mediobanca itself, have Texas ratios well in excess of 100%. So these banks, there are so many of them that are so hyper-leveraged with bad loans that there's no way to bail them all out. What we are on the verge of is an apocalyptic financial crisis in Italy that will collapse the entire country's banking sector. When we look at what happened in 2008, it pales in comparison. Despite the United States having international reach. And these banks, one thing that you need to realize is that they're all connected. When Italy's banking sector begins to fail, what happens? I guess they take bailouts from the European Central Bank, right? And then they lose more power, lose more sovereignty, owe more taxes. And what we're really seeing is a weakening of the European Union all around. The banks in the banks in the United States, the banks in Europe, they're all suffering. They're all completely and totally hemorrhaging. And these unconventional policies that have been adopted by these central banks are in no way fixing them. We're in for some very rocky times because they have these zombie banks being propped up, and they're going to continue to drag down other banks. And to stay on the right side of solvency threshold, UniCredit has already had to raise 13 billion euro of new capital this year, and it needed to take European Central Bank's latest splurge of charitable lending. So they're needing them to be able to print more money in order to prop up these banks. They can't remain solvent. And so as this crisis looms, it seems like the quieter it gets. All right, thank you guys for joining me here on the Silver Report. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe, like the videos, share the videos. I thank you guys all so much for stopping by. As always, stay safe.